I ask unanimous consent to postpone votes on any question of approving any measures or matter or adopting an amendment on which a roll call is requested. And without objection, so ordered. And the first item of business is S 1047, the Assisting Small Businesses Not Fraudsters Act. Now, we have 2 amendments filed to this bill, and those will be Senator Markey's bill, or amendments to the bill.
He's just a minute or two away.
And we will pause as we wait for the ranking member. So you may continue your discussions. Senator Young, this is your bill, and I'll recognize you if you'd like to speak on your bill.
Well, thank you, Chair. Grateful for that. And colleagues, I think we should be all able to agree on the commonsensical nature of this bill. Let me outline it for you as outlined in my notes. The Assisting Small Business Not Fraudsters Act simply does this. It prohibits an individual or a business that that individual is associated with from receiving assistance from the Small Business Administration if they were convicted of financial misconduct in relation to the SBA's pandemic programs. It does have some carve-outs, provides an exception for disaster loans from this prohibition. If an individual who previously perpetrated fraud against the SBA should not be eligible for SBA assistance, and this bill ensures the SBA and American taxpayers are further protected from fraudulent actors. That's all it does. This is a companion bill to H.R. 825, which was a bipartisan bill that passed the House by a recorded vote of 405-0 on February 24th of this year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Young, very much for offering up this bill. Now I recognize Ranking Member Markey for his opening statements and for his bill, or his amendments to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, very much. Last Friday, President Trump and Administrator Loeffler announced they would be cutting nearly half of the SBA workforce, while at the same time proposing that the SBA take on the country's $1.6 trillion student loan portfolio. Administrator Loeffler is also threatening to relocate regional offices for political reasons, with Musk and Doge canceling SBA office spaces left and right. So they're going to reduce the workforce by 43%, take out 2,700 jobs. There's 70,000 applications for loans from the SBA every year, and also add on the entire student loan portfolio. So if you're a small business person across the country, this is not good news. Okay, there's going to be a long, long wait for anyone to be able to deal with your small business loan in person, because you just can't do it. Okay, it's just impossible to be able to accommodate that kind of service to people. And these are the smallest of business people. They don't have the kind of support. The SBA employee is the one that really is helping people to figure it all out. So you cut the workforce in half, you double the workload by moving over the entire student loan portfolio. It's $1.6 trillion. So I just think that there's big problems that are being created here with these kind of proposals. So it's just not how you lead an organization. It is how you actually run an organization into the ground. So this is an agenda that puts big interests. I'm sure they need the money for the billionaire tax breaks, but it's going to come at the expense of the smallest business people in the country. And these, for the most part, are not big liberal people either. They're just hard, struggling, small business people. So today's business meeting, we're going to consider two of Trump's nominees. I know we're going to pull them back at this point, Casey Mulligan and William Briggs. And while there are some significant concerns with each nominee, what is more troubling is the idea that we would move forward to confirm two more political appointees without knowing what is really going on at SBA. Congress does not know from DOGE who has access to borrowers' sensitive information. Congress does not know exactly who from SBA was fired and why. Congress does not know which district and regional offices will be shuttered and how that will impact service to small businesses. Congress does not know which and how many small business contracts and grants have been canceled because of the president's executive orders. And Congress does not know who is actually calling the shots at SBA. Is it President Trump, Administrator Loeffler, or is it Elon Musk? We just don't know. We're flying blind here in a committee with jurisdiction over something that's central to 30 million small businesses in America. We just don't have any information at this point. And when will Congress get answers to those questions? We are an equal branch of government. We are not elected to rubber stamp the Trump administration's nominees and agenda. The second part of today's business meeting is to consider two bills. The first bill is Senator Shaheen's coordinated support for Rural Small Business Act. This is a strong piece of legislation that will give businesses in rural America, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, but all across the country, more focused attention so they can access loans and counseling services more easily. But we stipulate it's with a dramatically reduced workforce. And the second bill, Senator Young's bill to restrict convicted COVID fraudsters from accessing SBA loans, makes perfect sense at face value. People who defraud SBA should be held accountable. I support that bill in principle. However, as written, it could have unintended consequences on small businesses and their employees, and although the House companion to this legislation passed overwhelmingly, I think there are problems that are worth fixing. And while I intend to vote for this legislation out of committee, I just hope that I can work with you, Madam Chair, to address those issues, along with Senator Young, so that we can try to resolve them before we bring it out to the floor. So I'm going to continue to fight for small businesses to ensure that each and every one gets the resources they need to succeed and grow. I don't think that's where this is all heading, and I think it's really bad news for small businesses if the plan, as it's been announced, is in fact put into place. I just think it's going to make it harder and harder for the engine of growth in our country to get access to the information and the funding they need to keep hiring people in our country. So I yield back, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ranking Member. We do need to move quickly. I would like to process both Senator Young's bill and Senator Shaheen's bill today. I think we can move both of those out of committee. So, Ranking Member Markey, you are recognized for 2 minutes for your amendment.
First, thank you, Madam Chair.
This is Amendment Number 1.
Amendment Number 1. First, the legislation includes the overly broad definition of an associate. And this definition could apply to any employee who manages the day-to-day operations of the small business without any decision-making authority, any. That could mean the entire business is punished for past actions of a single employee, even if the business itself was never involved in a fraud. And second, the bill places a lifetime ban on SBA loans for implicated associates. We should instead mirror current SBA regulations and uphold ban the box initiatives. Lifetime bans are overly punitive and ultimately ineffective. So again, I hope to continue working with Chair Ernst to ensure the legislation is consistent with the idea that everyone should get a second chance after righting their wrong, but also that a peripheral employee does not ultimately then affect the core business and their ability to be able to move forward. So I want to work with you in order to improve the legislation. We just have to have, for better or worse, very clear definitions that are here. Otherwise, it could cast a cloud over many, many businesses who unknowingly wound up in a situation where there could have been an employee who was there. So, and I also want to work with you to make sure that we have a fully staffed and funded SBA and Office of Inspector General to address real fraud. Okay, we need to do that as well. So I am getting increasingly concerned that we're careening towards a real crisis at the SBA in terms of how it's going to be impacting all of those businesses. We focus upon small businesses, women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, rural businesses, but a vision without funding is an hallucination. A vision without funding is an hallucination. If we can't pretend that if you got 100% of the work to be done, and then you cut the workforce by 40%, and then you add another 40% on top of that 100% workload, all the student loans, that somehow or other, that what is going to happen, not going to happen, is that those small businesses across the country are not going to see a reduction in their service. So that would be, my goal, and I withdraw the amendment at this time with the hope that I could work with you in order to remedy the obvious problems that are being created. Thank you.
I do appreciate that. Ranking Member Markey, would you like to offer your second amendment?
Excuse me, Madam
number
Chair,
two?
before he gets to his second
yes.
amendment, if I may, I share Senator Markey's concern about the overbroadness of the definition of associated and the fact that if you are deemed to fit into this overly broad category, you will not be able to access small business funds. I think that is that is very draconian. So I would like to receive some kind of assurance that Senator Markey, in fact, will be able to work with you to narrow this definition or make it much more precise so that the people who should not have access to these loans are the ones who shouldn't have access to these loans.
Thank you. We are going to call the vote on this. Again,
You
we
cannot
want
give me
to-
any assurance, excuse me, that these concerns will
Maisie,
be addressed?
we're going to call the vote. So you can vote no on the bill. That's your prerogative. I'll remind everyone that this did pass the House 405-0. Thank you. And yes, was Senator Markey, would you like to offer your second amendment?
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
He
withdrew it.
both. Yeah, I'm withdrawing the amendments with the,
This
with the
second one
commitment
as
that we
well.
will work together to try
This-
to
the
resolve
second one
these
as well.
issues. And I did serve in the House of Representatives for 36 years.
Yep.
And I do
Okay.
respect the House of Representatives, but I came to respect the Senate as well as an independent body that could actually use its cerebral mechanisms in order to deal with issues of great
Wonderful.
weight.
Okay.
With
The senator has withdrawn his amendment number 1, and the senator has withdrawn his amendment number 2. And so I move to favorably report S 1047. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Okay. 1047. That's. The ayes have it, and it is the ruling of the chair that S 1047, with a quorum being present, is reported favorably by the committee. Senator Hirono will be recorded as a no. Okay,
Do you want a recorded vote?
no. Okay, so we are moving on to Senator Shaheen's bill now, which is the next item of business. It's 1093, the Coordinated Support for Rural Small Businesses Act. No amendments were pre-filed, and I move to favorably report S 1093. And would the senator like to speak on her bill?
I would, just briefly. As we all know, small businesses in rural areas are particularly important. They account for 54% of employment compared to only 45% in urban counties. And it shows, one of the things that I have found in New Hampshire is that small businesses look to not just the SBA, but to USDA and rural development for for how to better put together support for what they're trying to do. And this bill is an attempt to try and better coordinate those resources between SBA and USDA. So I appreciate the Chair and Ranking Member's support for the bill. It has been through the committee before, and I hope this time we can get it through the floor. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And I urge my colleagues to support this bill, the Coordinated Support for Rural Small Business Act. So I move to favorably report S 1093. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, and it is the ruling of the chair that S 1093, with a quorum being present, is reported favorably by the committee. Okay. Yeah, you bet. Okay, we will have to recess at this point, and thank you all for participating in today's meeting. I note the presence of quorum for all actions taken on all committee business today. I ask unanimous consent that with respect to legislation reported today, that the Corden rule be waived and that the committee staff be authorized to make technical and conforming changes to each of the measures reported out today to reflect the actions of the committee. Without objection, so ordered. I ask unanimous consent that each measure ordered reported today will be reported as a single amendment in the nature of a substitute incorporating any amendments adopted. Without objection, so ordered. With that, the Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship stands